Hello, and welcome back to English is Easy. I'm your host, Connor. This is the show where I use slow, clear, and simple English to help you improve your English. Today, I have a really fun lesson planned for you guys. First, we are going to read a short story together. Then, we are going to take a look at some reading comprehension questions to make sure that we fully understood the story. After that, we are going to take a look at some new vocabulary words, some of the more difficult, some of the more challenging words in the story, and make sure we understand them and can use them. And then finally, for my Patreon subscribers, we will have a bonus segment, a critical thinking question, and some speaking practice. So, if you guys are ready to get started, go ahead, click like on this video, hit subscribe so you never miss another video, and let's dive in. Today's story is about a movie called The Lobster. The Lobster. I don't know if you guys have seen this movie, but it's one of my favorite movies of all time. So I wanted to tell the story of this movie today. Okay? So let's go ahead and dive into the story. Once upon a time, in a strange dystopian society, dystopian, we'll talk about that word later, there lived a man named David. In this society, being single was not allowed. Okay, so that's the premise of this movie. That's the idea is in this world, you cannot be single. You have to be in a relationship, a romantic relationship. People were required to find a romantic partner within 45 days, or they would be transformed into an animal of their choice and released into the wild. So you have to find somebody within 45 days. If you can't do it, you get turned into an animal. David had recently been left by his wife, and now he found himself alone and desperate. David checked into a peculiar hotel, a strange hotel, where singles went to find their mates or their partners. The hotel was a cold, clinical place, full of strict rules and bizarre rituals. A clinical place, that means sort of medicinal, like maybe it feels like a hospital, right? Or a doctor's office. Guests were forced to wear the same clothes, follow the same schedules, and participate in strange activities designed to promote coupling. Coupling, right? Getting people together as a couple. Failure to find a partner meant a fate worse than loneliness, transformation into an animal, right? If you can't find a partner, you get turned into an animal. David's chosen animal, should he fail, was a lobster. So that's the one David is going to pick if he can't find a partner, right? A lobster. He chose it because lobsters live for many years and remain fertile for their entire lives. David felt a certain kinship or bond, connection with the resilient creature. Ooh, resilient. That means it always bounces back, right? It can survive in difficult conditions. As he navigated or found his way around the hotel's odd customs, he met other singles, each with their own quirks and fears. Quirks. It's a fun word. A quirk is something unusual about somebody, a peculiar characteristic, something strange or odd about them. For example, there was the lisping man. If you have a lisp, you talk like this. This is a lisp. The limping man and the heartless woman, all desperate to avoid transformation. So everyone who is at this hotel, they're trying to find a partner. They really do not want to go through this transformation and become an animal. Understandably so, right? I wouldn't want to either. Every day, David and the other guests participated in hunts. They were given tranquilizer guns, guns that could make you fall asleep if you got hit by it, right? And they were sent into the forest to hunt loners, those who had escaped the system, ran away, and lived in defiance of its rules. Living in defiance of the rules. So they are standing up to the system. They are taking a stand and saying, no, I refuse to participate. Each captured loner earned the hunter extra days to find a partner. So if you catch one of these guys, you get more time, right? The hunts were brutal, and the forest was filled with fear and tension. Lots of anxiety, stress going on in the forest. As the days passed or went by, David felt the pressure mounting. The pressure was mounting, becoming greater. He struggled to find a genuine connection amidst the forced interactions and fabricated relationships. Fabricated, the fake or forced relationships. Time was running out, and the threat of transformation loomed over him like a dark cloud. It was looming over him, towering over him. David's journey had only just begun, but already he felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. He's feeling very stressed out, right? Would he find love, or would he face life as a lobster? David's time at the hotel grew increasingly desperate as his days dwindled. Dwindled, that's a great word. His days grew fewer and fewer. He made a half-hearted attempt to partner with a woman known for her cruelty, thinking that matching her ruthlessness might secure his future. So, what did he do? In other words, he pretended to be heartless or cruel, right? Mean and cold. Even going so far as to fake indifference when she harmed his dog, who was actually his transformed brother. Okay, so this heartless woman, she hurts this dog, who is actually David's brother, and he's trying to be with this woman, right? So he fakes indifference. If you are indifferent, that means you don't really care. He's pretending not to care, but in reality, he's very upset about her harming his brother, right? But the act was too much for David to sustain or keep up, and his true feelings betrayed him. The heartless woman exposed him, showed his true colors, right? David faced severe punishment for his deceit. Severe punishment for his deceit. Deceit, his trickery, his lies, right? With no hope left within the hotel, David made a daring escape into the forest, joining the ranks of the loners. So he joins these people living in the woods, in the forest. The loners lived by their own strict code. They have rules. Romantic relationships were forbidden. Big no-no. And independence was fiercely valued. Okay, so independence, being alone, being by yourself, being self-sustaining, right? Being able to take care of yourself. Here, David found a strange sense of freedom, though the harsh rules and constant threat from the hotel's hunters cast a shadow over this newfound liberty, freedom. In the forest, David met a woman who shared his short-sightedness. Their eyes aren't very good, right? And they formed a secret bond. You're not supposed to get involved in a relationship with these people, right? But they do it secretly. Despite the loner leader's strict prohibition against romance, David and the short-sighted woman fell in love, creating their own silent language to communicate. They shared stolen glances, so they're looking at each other, sneaking looks, hidden smiles, and moments of quiet intimacy, their connection growing stronger with each passing day. Their love brought both joy and peril. Joy is happiness, peril is danger, right? The loner leader discovered their relationship and subjected the short-sighted woman to a brutal punishment. She was taken to the city and blinded. Her sight was taken away, stripping away the very trait or characteristic that had brought her and David together in the first place, right? Devastated and enraged, very angry, David plotted his revenge against the leader, determined to protect the woman he loved. Okay, so David wants to get back at the leader. He wants revenge. She hurt his love. This woman he's in love with, she hurt him. He wants to hurt her to get back at her. Despite the constant danger and the loner group's harsh environment, David and the short-sighted woman's bond deepened, grew richer, right? They dreamed of escaping together and finding a place where they could be free to love without fear. But the obstacles, the hurdles, the challenges were immense. They were great. And their future remained uncertain, unclear. David and the short-sighted woman managed to escape the forest, fleeing or running away to the city where they hoped to start a new life together. The city was a stark contrast to both the hotel and the forest. Stark contrast. That means it's really, really different. It's bustling with people who had conformed to the society's rigid norms. Here they faced a different kind of challenge, blending in, fitting in, right, while maintaining their love. They found refuge, safety, in a quiet cafe, and David was faced with a heartbreaking decision. To prove their compatibility to the world and stay together, he needed to make a drastic choice. Drastic means extreme, a dramatic choice, a very, very intense choice. He took a knife and went to the restroom, intending to blind himself, take away his own vision, so that he and the short-sighted woman would both be visually impaired. They'd both lose their sight, thus matching once again. The short-sighted woman waited anxiously. She's unable to see what David was doing. the moments stretched into an agonizing eternity. So she's waiting and waiting and waiting in this cafe while David is in the bathroom, trying to decide should he stab himself in the eyes with this knife so that they can be together. Well, at the end of the story, David emerges. He comes out of the bathroom, his fate uncertain. At the end of the story, the screen fades to black, leaving their future ambiguous. So this is an open-ended ending. If an ending is open-ended, that means we're not sure how it ends. We're left with some questions. Did David go through with this act? Did he stab himself in the eyes? Or did he find another way to stay with his love, a different way? The ending leaves us pondering the lengths we go to for love and the sacrifices that we make in the name of connection. David's journey was a poignant exploration of the human condition, questioning societal norms or the way society works, right? What's normal in society, the nature of love or the way love is, and the essence of individuality, what it means to be an individual, a single person, right? It was a story of desperate measures in a world devoid of genuine connection, devoid of lacking. So genuine connection cannot be found in this world. So this world is where love and freedom were the ultimate prizes to be fought for and cherished, valued. Wow. Okay, guys, so that's the story behind this movie called The Lobster, one of my favorite movies. Such a cool premise or concept or idea for a story, right? This idea that you have to find love and be with somebody in a certain amount of time or you get turned into an animal. I mean, how cool is that? So now let's take a look at a couple reading comprehension questions to check and see how closely you guys were paying attention. If you can answer 1, 2, or even 3 of these questions, that means you were really paying attention and you understood the story at a deep level. So I will read the questions. You can pause the video to answer them out loud and practice your speaking, or leave me a comment on this video, okay? Question 1. What rules did the hotel impose on its guests, and what was the consequence if they failed to find a partner? 2. Describe David's relationship with the heartless woman and the outcome of his attempt to partner with her. So, the outcome. What was the result of him trying to be with her, right? 3. How did David and the short-sighted woman communicate and maintain their relationship while living among the loners? Okay, great. Let's keep moving right along. Next up, we'll take a look at some vocabulary words, all right? So these were some of the more challenging words that we saw in the story. The first was at the very beginning. We saw the word dystopian. Dystopian. What does that mean? Relating to an imagined society where everything is unpleasant or bad, often characterized by totalitarianism or environmental degradation. So in other words, a future world that sucks, right? It's a world in the future that's really, really bad, bleak, grim, oppressive, right? Here's an example from the story. Once upon a time, in a strange dystopian society, there lived a man named David. Another example would be the novel or the book, the fictional story, depicts a dystopian world where freedom is a distant memory, right? So in a dystopian world, you might see really oppressive rulers, people who rule over everything and have very strict guidelines for society. You might see the total collapse of society. You might see kind of like a zombie apocalypse, right? Where everybody, it's every man for himself and very difficult to survive. Can you guys imagine a dystopian society? What do you think would make a society dystopian? Maybe you can let me know in the comments. Our second vocab word is ritual. Ritual. A set of actions performed according to a prescribed order, often as part of a ceremony. Okay? Ceremony, routine, tradition. So, this word can be used in a very big way or a very small way, right? So maybe somebody goes through an intense sacrificial ritual. Let's say, for example, an Aztec society, right? Where they have the ritual of using a knife to cut out the hearts of human sacrifices. We call that ritual sacrifice. Very intense, right? But you can also say, my morning ritual, my morning routine. Like maybe you do a certain specific set of things every morning. Wake up at a certain time, go to a certain place and buy a certain coffee and walk in a certain area. That can be a ritual too. In the story, the hotel was a cold, clinical place full of strict rules and bizarre or strange rituals. Every morning, he followed the same ritual of making coffee and reading the news, right? So this is a pretty versatile word, ritual. Another word was transformation. Transformation. A thorough or dramatic change in form or appearance. Change, metamorphosis, conversion. Failure to find a partner meant a fate worse than loneliness. Transformation. Okay, here's another example sentence. The transformation from caterpillar to butterfly is truly remarkable. So, sometimes in life we have a friend who goes through a transformation. Maybe they were really overweight and unhealthy, but then they started eating correctly and going to the gym and taking care of themselves, and they went through a transformation. They went through a big change. Have you ever gone through a transformation? A dramatic transformation? Maybe there was a time in your life where you were one way, and then you transformed into something new. Maybe you got smarter or healthier, or you moved to a new country, and you changed dramatically. Pause the video and let me know. You can talk out loud, or you can leave me a comment. Now, guys, that is the end of the free portion of today's video. I hope it was useful. My content here on YouTube will always be free. You will always be able to find free lessons on my channel, but if you would like some extra bonus content, I encourage you to subscribe to my Patreon. For the price of a cup of coffee, you can get extended or longer videos with more vocabulary, a critical thinking question, and a bonus speaking segment to improve your spoken English. You will also get a personalized thank you in one of my videos here on the channel, so you will be in my video. And beyond all of that, you will be supporting me as your YouTube English teacher and making it possible for me to keep doing what I do here on YouTube. So I would really appreciate your support if you can find it possible to make that small donation and support me in my work. You would be so very much appreciated. But with that being said, that's all for today, guys. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, and I will see you next time for more high-quality English lessons. Until then, bye-bye.